Hi guys, welcome back to the Super Sensitive Show. I'm here today with my guest Celia Petconi.
Hello.
I hope I said that right.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, good. I'm sorry I couldn't bring your cats on today.
I know, that would have been amazing.
That would have been really fun. You just got a new kitten too.
Yeah, she would have stayed. The black one would not have stayed. She would have stayed right here.
He would have been like, I don't like the energy in here.
Yeah, no, he just wouldn't, like, he cannot be controlled. But she can. So.
Cats don't like me.
No?
Cats
Why not?
don't like
Are
me.
you sure? Why not?
I've only met a few of them, and they've
My cats are different.
Your cats are different.
My cats are elite.
Have I met your cat?
No. They run away.
I think I've seen your cat.
You've seen them in the window.
I've seen them.
They always say
I've
in the
seen
window.
them in the pictures. They were really cute there.
Yeah.
Today we're going to talk about a variety of different things. But first, I'll introduce Celia as my long-term friend from 4 years ago when we met at which class? Illustrative Concepts 1.
Was it that?
It
I
was
don't
that.
know.
It was like the very first ever like illustration class.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in illustration? How did you like it?
I'd say 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah.
I feel like that is the average.
Yeah, I feel like it was very self-taught, and I wish that we could have had more demos and learned more. But I think
one-on-one from the profs.
Yeah, like I haven't gotten much advice or info from many of them. It was very like, here's a project, do it, which I was not expecting. But towards the end of it, I ended up liking it way more, especially since half of it was online, which sucked.
Yes, that was a huge like robbery.
Yeah.
Of all of our time, money, energy.
Yeah. Like, I don't think we had a fair university experience.
No. I mean, I feel like that's why a lot of people are doing that extra 1 year. I mean, that's never happened before in history.
Yeah.
Right? Like having to completely stop everything and be removed socially from everybody that you saw every single day. And like, whether or not you did it on purpose, it forces you to cut corners in a lot of ways. Like, just in terms of like, when you don't have the energy stimulation of going to a class, you're just physically, you cannot be as motivated to do the work. So like, when you do the work, you're just putting that much less time, effort, and it was just like exhausting.
Yeah, no, the motivation was so low, like so low. The way the profs would be like, do this 16 by 20, and I would reduce it to like
8 by 10.
Yeah, to like 8 by 10, and no one would know because you just take a picture of it and submit it. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I'm too lazy. I'm not doing this. I'm gonna do 8 by 10, and that's
You know what my profs would do? Get in the picture, hold it up.
Oh, they only asked for once that at the end. I was like, okay, fine. I'll do this one.
I'll stand up and size up to the painting. I feel like everybody said the same thing. Like, it ends up being a program where if you're not putting in that work on your own time, and it's like relating to your very personal experience, and you're like kind of teaching yourself, then it can become a very like aggravating, frustrating program. Because it's not really like the profs are sitting next to you and giving their very specific like career influenced advice based on their style. They're kind of just freestyling.
Yeah. Especially when it came to like programs like Illustrator. I was not prepared for that. I still don't really know how to use it, but that's just my fault because like I don't understand.
But still, like it's almost like they assume that a lot of people had those high school credits already, which a lot of us did, which is great. But there's also the group of people who didn't, and them sort of jumping right into it and not giving the demos like from the very basics
to
the end. It makes it very complicated to just learn.
I mean, to be fair, when I saw that people didn't know how to paint or draw, I was like, how'd you get in? No offense.
How'd you get in here? No, but it's true. If half of the artwork at the end of the 4 years are being digital, then they should be giving us the demonstrations for the programs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I almost wish, and maybe this is like kind of like the pessimist in me, but like I kind of wish they had to do traditional work. At a certain point, when do you just stop doing traditional media, right? Because the act of doing it and the act of making mistakes and not being able to undo it is so important to process. And I feel like the fact that they kind of stopped forcing us to do that, it's you can tell.
I know. I mean, shout out to Lockie Reed, but like he really pushed us to do traditional, and I did about half of my thesis traditional, and then the rest of them I didn't have time, and I also just wanted brighter colors.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like, okay, let's go the digital route, and I think they turned out pretty okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people just didn't even try doing it traditionally, which kind of is sad.
It is sad because you come to art and design university and you really want that, like, how did you make that kind of thing. I think that's the biggest part is like I walk around and I'm like, well, I know exactly how you got that effect. I know that's the Bonobo chalk brush from Procreate. I know it is. So you kind of lose the thrill of like, oh, how did they even get this texture? When they're doing it on,
I know,
like an actual thing. But how did you find like the whole thesis, like from start to finish? I guess even like the setup of the course in general. How did you find it?
I went into thesis confident, thinking that, oh, it's a piece of cake, no big deal. And then it started going, and then I was like, okay, I'm screwed. I don't know what I'm doing. This is really fast, too fast.
Slow down.
Slow down. I mean, I don't think the setup is bad, considering the time frame.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if there's another way to do it. I wish we had like 2 or 3 classes a week instead of 1.
Yeah. That would have been helpful.
That would have been way more helpful. And if we had more time for each piece, because coming up with an idea every single week and then having to finish it and then on to the next, there was no break. I felt exhausted. There were times where I was creative and I was like, yeah, I got this. And then other times I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, I have no ideas. I'm burnt out.
Yeah.
I don't even want to do this anymore.
That's the thing. You get so sick of it.
I got sick of it and I got annoyed. And yeah, it was just very difficult to find inspiration and motivation at some points. So
I found that at the beginning of it, it was a really quick jump right into ideation and a really quick jump into find your topic and go. But it's like, it's hard to choose when you feel like you have a lot to say about a multitude of things, right? And having to find one thing that you can kind of blow up and expand into a lot of different subtopics is really hard. And it's like, there's the pressure of not wanting to do what's been done before. You know, it can't be personal, or it can be personal, but to a certain extent. You know, you want to avoid politics, you want to avoid religion, you want to avoid, you know, pretty much anything that is, I guess, and have home run. Anything that is, you know, like predictable for a thesis work, and it's a lot of pressure. And I remember being on a Teams call with my prof and being like, is it supposed to be this grueling and like mentally draining? And I feel like if you're doing it right, then it is. Because that's pressure that you want to create something that is special. You know?
That's how I'd know that my idea would work if I felt really uncomfortable. If I felt too safe, I was like, this is not good. It's going to get rejected. It's just not, it's not working. But the harder it got, I was like, okay, I'm like heading in the right direction.
Exactly. It feels like you do have something to work on. So, I mean, if we could give advice to anybody who's doing thesis next year, I would say, like, start thinking now. Not to get yourself prepared necessarily, but that September creeps up. And then it's instantly October and you need to get going on, you know, what is this this topic that you're going to be diving into and exploring. And I just found, like, choose something that you don't know anything about. is a good way to go.
Yeah.
Choose something that you know has a lot of different pathways to it.
Yeah. Or if you want to do like something personal, make it relatable as well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
put your experience, but make it so that it's like what everyone else goes through as well. Because after
Right.
all, we're all human and we do go through the
Yeah.
same experience, just in different filters.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. Different fonts.
Yeah, different fonts. So
I think that's illustration, right? Is taking these sort of shared feelings and shared experiences and molding them into something pretty, but also recognizable and understandable for sure. But talk a little bit about your own thesis. I know it's called Body of Work. I love that title.
thank you.
I think that's so clever.
I didn't come up with it.
No.
No, I didn't come. I can't take credit. I have to give credit to Lockie because he was like, "Oh, like body of work," and I was like, "Oh, you're right.
The body of
Oh my god,
work.
yeah."
There you go. But yeah, give us like the thematic rundown of what your thesis talks about.
Well, it's about the human experience, the emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual aspect of it all, and I just want to show what it's like to be a human and that we all go through the same thing, as I said earlier, but in different like fonts, right?
Yeah.
I'm just fascinated by the human body, anatomy, and like expression.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to try and show that in a very simple yet easy to understand way.
I like how you picked very specific, like direct to heart. This is what's going on. You know this is what's going on, but it's amplified, right? So, for example, miscarriage,
Yeah.
right? Like, this is obviously a miscarriage. You can see that, but you've taken it out of the typical, like, you know, you've taken it out of the hospital room. You've taken it out of the womb. It's just, you know, the mother's hands
Yeah.
and the fetus, you know, and that's heavy, heavy imagery.
Yeah.
But I think the color palette you chose is very sensual, and it does have that aspect, like it doesn't necessarily feel lonely. You know,
Yeah.
it still feels like a connection and like energy in it. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was hard because, as you said earlier about like originality, it was really hard to make it original because everything that's associated with miscarriage are like hospitals,
Right.
the stomach, like the mother crying or
Yes.
whatever, you know?
Yes.
And it was so hard to narrow it down. How do I make this as simple as possible, but it's the message is so obvious and clear that it's just like there, you know? And I think that sensual like vibe you're getting was unintentional. I just put that, I think, through all of them.
Yes.
I don't know why. I guess
Yeah.
that's just the mood I'm in currently. But yeah.
I think that definitely comes through, and I think that also has to do with there's a lot of dark backgrounds in most of them.
Yeah, that
And I
just
think
reflects.
Like it's very, but like it's heavy subject matter mixed with a very thoughtful message. And like, what do you feel about like auras? Like when people say, you know, like paint your aura.
Oh yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
think that's like a big part of it as well, right? And energy, you could say.
Yeah, no, that stuff is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that something that you like tried to put in to the artwork,
Yes.
or did it sort of just?
I mean, I
come
didn't
about?
like sort of intentional, but also just whatever came in the moment. You know, because I don't want to be too cliche either.
Yes. Right.
Like not everything can have like that like halo effect or that aura.
Right.
But a lot of it was just in the moment. Like the only thing that was planned would be like the idea and like the sketch.
Yep.
And then the colors were just what I was feeling in the
Yeah.
moment and what I wanted to put then
Yeah.
and there.
That was really successful.
Thanks.
Like really successful. That comes through, and it doesn't none of it feels like forced, or none of it feels like you're trying to make a statement, a dramatic statement about a social issue. Like it's not even like that. Like you look at it and you just feel warm, you feel captivated, even if the subject matter is heavy and like emotional. It's something that you feel connected to in a certain way. And I feel like the black backgrounds like sort of narrow you into and bring you into the piece. And I just thought they were fantastic.
Thanks.
When you mention like spirituality, is that something that like tell me about your spirituality and how you I guess practice it, and if that has to do with like nature in your body or if that's more like a religious thing for you.
I'm personally not religious. I think of spirituality more of how can I connect with myself and my surroundings more, and I'm just trying to figure out like what is this, you know?
Yes.
Like I believe we're I don't know, there's a saying like you're a soul living a human experience or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just interested in a lot of inner work and just trying to find out like who am I outside of everything that we're influenced by.
Right.
Because if you think about it, we're literally shaped by everything we see and everything we hear. So every time I catch myself, I'm like, is that what I think, or is that just what I've been, like I've heard and I've seen so much that I'm just agreeing with it.
Right.
So I'm just going through this process for a while now, trying to figure out who am I outside of everything.
Yeah, it can be really scary.
Yeah.
Because you pull back and you're like, okay, surroundings, you know, influences from other people, perception, you know, what makes me happy, what makes others happy, you know, trial and error and consequence and things like that. And it can be like really, really lonesome at the end of the day when you realize like nobody else is really fighting for me to know myself. I'm doing that on my own. And it's also hard when you realize you need to break away from certain things that you've gotten so used to. And you have to say, you know, that's not good for me anymore. Or that habit isn't actually pushing me forward. It's holding me back.
Yeah.
Right? I know you had a lot of experiences with your health. Being kind of up and down. And one thing I love about you is your perseverance and how you've been able to stay... No, I don't even want to say stay positive, because sometimes positive is not the way to do things. But you've been able to look for solutions and not be afraid to say, that's not working, let's try something else. You know?
You know, at the end of the day, I can't say I've been positive all the time because I'm not. It's really hard.
Yeah.
And I have my pessimistic, angry moments. But at the end of the day, I'm like, it is what it is. I just have to go on, and eventually I'll find something that works. And I'm just trying to make life as good as it can get, given the circumstances.
Yeah.
So
I feel like, again, back to this, I hate the word toxic positivity, but I guess that's what it is. Like this kind of forced, like, oh, it'll be fine, I'll figure it out. You know, if I just kind of smile through it and push through it, and it's like, no, sometimes you need to wallow. And you need to grieve things that happened before and are now currently not there. And I find that my best work is when I can just take whatever the mess is and put it down somewhere. You know?
And that's what I did with this thesis. I've never let myself put everything through my work because I was scared. I didn't know what would happen, and I never just wanted to access that part of myself. And I actually thought of you because you do that a lot. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do what Daria does. She lets out her shit through her work. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And I did that, and it was really hard actually to do it because I was seeing my pain on the surface. And I had so many breakdowns doing some of the pieces because I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is me, even though I don't think anyone realized that this is what I go through. But being so attached to it, it still hurt. You know?
Of course.
But then once it was out, I was like, wow, okay, it's out.
Yeah, it's
You
kind of
know?
like it's kind of like
Yeah.
a weight,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's like, you know, well, not even that. Like you see people interact with the work, and you say, they'll be like, yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Right? And it can be a completely different situation. It doesn't have to be the
Yeah.
exact same heartbreak or the physical pain that they felt before. It's something that they can recognize that hurt that's in there. And like, are you also shitting yourself for people to walk around and like look at it?
Oh yeah, no,
It's terrifying.
yeah.
It's terrifying, but it's like you take that, but then you also take how nice it is to be seen.
Yeah.
And to be heard and to share things with other people. I think that's
Yeah.
why we do it in the first place. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be here, you know, making art. If we were like so backed up in our own feelings, we wouldn't even be able to produce the kind of work that we do. So I think you should be proud of yourself for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because it's like, it's a huge step and it's scary.
It's weird because at the same time, I love attention, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I gotta be honest. Like,
Yeah, of course.
but I don't like everyone looking at me at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel so self-conscious, and I'm like, oh my god, like,
Yeah.
what are they thinking? On one hand, I don't give a shit what people think, but on the other hand, I'm like, how am I being perceived?
Yeah.
Like, that's my issue.
Yeah, no, for
how am I
sure.
being perceived?
Yeah. Do people think I'm being phony or
Yeah.
do they think, yeah.
So it's
That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Definitely. And worrying about, you know, what everybody else is going to think. But I just always remind myself, like, people are worrying about themselves.
Yeah,
As well
yeah.
as worrying about what's going on around them. And I think at an event like Grad X, there's so much art and there's so much, like, I'm really genuinely excited to look around and see what everybody else has been doing, especially like drawing and painting. I'm so excited to see that kind of stuff. But yeah, as much as it can be an intimidating event,
yeah.
I think like we put in the work, you know,
Yeah,
we
we
did the
yeah.
project, we finished it to the end, right? We can kind of relax and celebrate and hopefully like kick back
Yeah.
for the summer.
I hope
Relax
so,
a
yeah.
little bit if our body lets us do that.
Why hasn't Bowie come yet? You asked me about my cats. I'm asking about your dogs.
I think Bobo oh, she's shy today.
My lip gloss is popping.
My lip
What
gloss
lip gloss is that?
popping.
Ooh, we love.
Yeah. I'm going to introduce the hat. I got this hat made a couple weeks ago, and then I fell deathly ill. I got sick again.
With what?
Drink some orange juice. Like, I like need to take vitamins because
Electrolytes, girl.
electrolytes.
I'm like the promoter for electrolytes.
I
You know this?
I know. I drank so much Gatorade. My bloodstream is probably like 20% blood, 20% blood, 80% cool blue Gatorade. I was going to read a quote to you, and we can kind of discuss the quote. Into the mic. Into the unknown.
Into the mic.
Okay. Okay, so this quote is from Sylvia Plath. I talk to myself and look at the dark trees, blessedly neutral. So much easier than facing people, than having to look happy, invulnerable, and clever. And I thought this was a good quote because when I see somebody who's not outwardly trying to be this like constantly positive person, I get this sort of energy of like stoicism and sort of like being reserved and thinking about what you're putting out into the world rather than immediately going to what is the most socially right thing to say, and really taking time to consider what you're saying to people and how you're, I guess, presenting yourself into, you know, whether it be to other people or to the universe in general. And like, I like that quote because she's saying it's easier to be in nature and be in the world and be just kind of be rather than put on this like facade. I guess.
It is easier, but at the same time, it's scary because crying in public is so frowned upon, or it's just not normal.
Yeah.
That putting on a smile and acting like, oh, I'm so happy all the time is like standard.
Yeah.
Which is bullshit because it's
Absolutely.
It's not like that.
Absolutely.
And especially like this year, I've just given myself the freedom to just be however I am in public.
Yeah.
I have cried so many times in public. People have looked at me and I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Whatever. Look at
I've
me.
had
Look
so
at me
many
crying.
moments, like on the subway home, just out the window.
Yeah, just
Like,
deathly
I do not
staring.
care.
Deathly staring like,
Yeah.
okay.
Because at that point, you're preserving your own energy
Yeah.
as well when you do that. And what I like about that quote is you don't need to preserve your own energy. You can try and just be as true to yourself as you possibly can, and not put up this whole front that I guess makes you seem like someone who's just nonchalant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And especially when you're being that like happy self,
Yeah.
it's just fake to me.
Yeah.
Like you can tell.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather have someone who's going through it and like mad or sad than deal with someone who you can clearly tell they're going through it, but they're putting up this front that is so happy but cold.
Right.
And it's just like you can't get in, you can't reach them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big thing about it is also in the quote they talk about vulnerability and how in real life, how hard it is and challenging it is to open up and like one-on-one, even right now on camera, like how difficult it is to say, I'm struggling, I need help.
Yeah.
Or this is the emotion that I'm physically feeling right now and I need support. Like that's a really scary thing. So she's sort of talking about, it'd be great if I could just go into the woods and be like beautiful like the earth and just so effortless and natural and, you know, let things come and go and be at peace with things changing.
Yeah.
Because that's a big part too, is like change and being open to it and not, I guess, freezing up.
Yeah. I've realized how rigid I can be with some things. And I like change, but at the same time, I can be so resistant.
Yeah.
Especially because I have no patience for certain things.
Right.
So I'm like, sometimes I'm waiting for this change and nothing changes. And then I lose my shit. And I'm like, why is nothing happening? Like, everything seems so stuck and I feel still. And then, like, the world just comes crumbling.
Right.
Until I just kind of have to ground myself.
And try again.
Yeah, and try again.
Yeah, I think like
And going in nature helps.
yeah, going
And
in
hugging
nature.
a tree. Go hug a tree.
Go hug a
Even
tree.
if it looks weird, do it.
He's probably sad because he looks weird. So hug that tree. He's
Hug
gonna
that
need
tree.
it. He's gonna need it.
You'll feel better.
That's so true. Yeah, thanks. That's great. That's a
Yeah.
great interpretation of that quote. And I really hope that graduating and finishing university gives you time to work on that journey. I don't think any of us are going to be done working on that journey ever.
Oh, no.
But it's
Yeah.
going to be, as you get older, it becomes more focused on, you know, what are my needs and what are the things that I really, really do love to do. And I think like graduating just means you have more time to do what you love and
Yeah.
figure out what you want to do all the time.
I'm so glad to be done.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
God.
a great feeling. And you know what? We're gonna party tonight. Do you think they're gonna have champagne at the?
I don't like champagne. I'll just go like this.
Yeah. You're gonna spray the work behind
Cheers! Oh God.
you.
Okay,
Cheers.
yeah.
Ruined. Lawsuit.
I'll give it
Boom.
to you. I'll give you the extra shot.
That's yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for being such a great interviewer.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
really? You're good. I could not do that.
You did it. You did pretty good.
No, but I could not be like in your place.
Oh my God. Well, just get up and come on over. This
That's
will be
true.
my place.
This is a good spot though. The lighting's good.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Super Sensitive Show. Goodbye.
Bye. Grip! Pilot!
Okay, great. Pilot, he wants to be pilot.